In this video, I'm going to demonstrate a few different marking methods. I'm going to mark this already cut out pattern piece. And just so you're not curious the whole video, what is this? It's the ear on one of these little baby sleepers. This vest or this pajamas makes it look like a little bear. So it's an ear. We're going to go over Tailor's Tacks, chalk, heat-soluble pens, and I'll explain water-soluble, marking pencil. The only marking method that I want you to know about that I don't have is tracing paper and a tracing wheel. So I'll find either a video or some pictures to explain that one to you. But let's get started with Tailor's Tacks first. So to make a Tailor's tack, you do it using a needle and thread. I have already threaded my needle right here with some blue thread. Ta-da! And I'll show you how to do it. It's a non-permanent marking method, and you can use it for marking dots, even lines, I guess, but we're just going to do it on this precision mark right here, this small little dot. So I want to point out that I have 2 layers of fabric here, 2 pieces, and I want to mark both of them at the same time. And I'll show you how to do that. So let's zoom in a little bit. All right, so I'm going to take my thread. I want to point out that I have not tied the ends of it. I'm going to put it through this circle here. I'm going to pull it till I leave a long, some long ends over here. Okay, so I'm not going to pull it all the way through. Then I'm going to come from the back, and I'm going to try and get the needle right on the other side, perfect, of the circle. I don't know if you can see, there it is. So now I'm going to hold this thread tail with my other fingers so that when I pull this one through, I don't lose this one. So on the back, I have pulled this essentially flat, okay? And then I'm going to do another one, this back through this way, but now I have, see these are across from each other, I'm going to come 90 degrees this way, quarter turn, okay, I'm going to put this through, and I'm pulling, and this got caught on the needle, but that's fine because we want to leave, and by needle I mean pin, we want to leave a longer tail here again, and then the last one, we're putting this through, oops, yeah, there we go, trying to go across from the insertion we just made. Okay, so now I'm going to hold on to this loop so that as I pull this, I don't accidentally pull this through like that. Okay, so now look at the back, have a little thread loop there, that's okay. All right, now that's an X, and this has some loops up here. Okay, now I'm going to snip this so it stays long, and I'm going to snip, I don't need to snip that one yet, if ever. Okay, so now I have this, right? So pretend that I've done it on all of my precision marks that I want to. I'm going to take off, oh, I know I have to do this. Okay, I do need to snip that because I'm taking off my pattern piece. I won't take it all the way off since we have to mark these ones, but I pretend I did. And this way I can remove the pattern piece, but leave the thread tails. See that? So it's still marking this dot, but this is out of the way. And now, because I have 2 layers of fabric and I want to mark both, I'm going to separate these, but I'm careful not to pull these all the way out because then I'll lose the marking on this side. What I do now is, I'm going to pull it a little more, but I make sure that I have plenty of thread on this side. Now I'm going to cut right in the middle, and I think I pulled something out, but I think I have everything still there. See, this one's long. Okay, we'll cut him down. All right, now look, I have this side marked, and I have this side marked with all my threads. So that is a Tailor's tack, and if I wanted to, I could tie these ends so that they wouldn't go anywhere, but if I'm careful, they won't come out. These ones are pretty secure. Okay, that's Tailor's tacks. Let's go on to something else. Next up, we're going to use a heat-soluble pen. So this is Frixion brand. It's pretty awesome. The idea is, I'll show you on a scrap of fabric, you can mark with this pen on your fabric, and because it is heat-soluble, when you take an iron and heat it up, this is my makeshift iron for now. It's a straightener, because I don't have a real iron right now, and I put it, oh, and look, it already went away. I did it too fast. Let me show you again. So I have my marking, I'll color in this whole dot, and now here's my hot straightener, my hot iron. I put it in here, close it, and look, it's gone because it's hot. Crazy, super fun stuff. So that's a heat pen, and they're great because they're non-permanent, but you also have to be careful because when you're ironing your project, your marks will go away. Another pen similar to this is called a water-soluble pen. It's the same idea, except instead of heat, water gets it out. So you make your marking, and then when you want it to go away, you get some water, rub it, and it should go away. So for using this pen to mark our fabric, I'm going to mark this dot right here, and I'll show you how. And remember, we want to get it on both layers. Whoops. Want to get it on both layers of our fabric. I want to point something out to you too. It's hard to tell right here. But let me see if I bring it up close. Yeah. Okay. Can you tell how this side looks different than this side? this fabric has a right and a wrong side. This is the side we want on the outside of our clothing. This is the side we want on the inside because you can see how it's lighter, it's not as defined. This is the correct side. This is what we want. So whenever we're marking fabric, we always want to mark on the wrong side. One, it helps us tell the right from the wrong side when it's kind of tricky to determine. And also because just in case it doesn't come out for whatever reason, it's better to be on the inside where it's harder to see. Okay, so that being said, this is the wrong side of the fabric. These two are right sides, and then this is a wrong side again. You can see wrong side, right side, wrong side, right side. So my right sides are together. So that means I'm going to be marking on this side and this side. Okay, we did talk about that. So we're doing this little circle here. So for the first one, it's pretty easy because I can just peel this back and leave half my circle here. So I know like where the other side goes. So I could like draw like that, peel it back a little more. So I know that my circle is about right there. Okay, with these precision markings, oh yeah, look, you can see it lines up pretty well. You want to get it close, of course, but don't stress too much about making it absolutely perfect. As long as they tell you what lines up with what, you'll be good. So that was that one. That was pretty easy, but how do I mark the one on the other side because I can't see it? Well, you take a pin, stick it in the middle, so you can see this pin right here, and then whoop, you go through all the layers, and now on this back side, you know where at least the middle of your circle is, so you can draw a dot right there. So now you know where this one goes. And we know about how big this circle is because like I said, it doesn't need to be perfect, just needs to be close. Yeah, see I made mine a little bit smaller, but it's about in the same spot, you can tell. So there's one, there's the other. That's how you use any kind of pen. It would be the same with this marking pencil, so I won't show you a marking pencil, but it works, it's the same idea. You just draw. Okay, last one, let's talk about chalk. So chalk is a great marking method. Let me show you how to scrap. Just go like that. Look at that. The thing about chalk is it's harder to get out than like, you know, a heat pen or a water pen or of course Tailor's Tacks because you just pull the thread out, but it does go away eventually. So it's a pro and a con where it doesn't go away right away depending on the chalk. So that's good, but it could be bad when you're done with your project. Or some chalk is a lot lighter than this and goes away a lot faster and then you lose your marking. So these are pros and cons you have to think about with whatever marking method you choose. But we're going to use chalk to mark this pleat. So what do we do? Well, let's take some pins out so we have something to work with. I'm going to use this pin and this pin to mark these circles. And then I'm going to get my fabric up on it so that they stay. And I'm going to raise this, okay? So now I know where those two dots are because of my two pins. I'm going to take my chalk. I'm going to mark. Let me get this out of the way so you can see. I'm going to mark right where the fabric meets my pin, there. And I'll do it back here too. So now I have two little marks. Now I can take this out and take these out too because I want to just expose that. Those are my two little dots. I'm going to take a straight edge because I know that these two are connected by this straight edge and this is at the top, so I know where my line ends, and then this goes all the way to the bottom. So I'm going to put my straight edge against these two dots, and then I'm going to take my chalk and draw a little line. Ooh. Ta-da! So there's that one. And then I will do the same thing on this side, and I have to do the same thing on the back. I could have done it all in one go. I'll do it one go this way. So I'm going to put a needle there, and by needle I mean pin, and a pin there right in the center of this dot. And I'm going to do the thing again where I lift. I mark right where the needle, the pin, I mean, goes into the fabric, and I'll do it on the back side. This is what I should have done on the first one. I'll have to go back and do them separate. And now I can take these out because I know that they connect. Take those out. I'm going to align my dots. Mark just like that. And now you can see that I kind of covered up my dots. These dots are supposed to correspond, so I'm going to make them a little bit bigger by doing that. And this was where my other dot was. So you can see these two lines, they aren't dots, but as long as they're marking the precision point, it doesn't necessarily have to be the exact same shape. Okay, let's do it on the back. So I have those two. I'm going to make them a little bit bigger before I draw my line, just so I don't lose them. And now I'll draw my line between the two. And I would want my other line matching this one, so I'd have to put my pins back in. I'll line this back up. I put my pins back in and do it on the same as the other side. Okay, last thing about this pleat. You can see there's an arrow here. That means when I make this, this is going to get pleated over to here, like that. So I need to indicate that on my pattern so I know which way to go. So I'm just going to draw an arrow. that shows this line goes over to that line. So that's how you do it. And I would do the same on this back. And it would be opposite, like that. And then there'd be another line right here. So that is using chalk. And then now that I have all of my markings done, I can remove this and I'm good to go. So now you know a few different marking methods: chalk, pen, pencil, and their special kinds: marking pencil, water soluble or heat soluble pen, Tailor's Tacks. The only one we haven't talked about is tracing paper with a tracing wheel. But as you experiment with all these yourselves, you can decide what kinds you like, pros and cons of each, and which ones you would prefer to use on your projects.